teams are actually going to fare here, Myth, and I guess some final thoughts. What is one thing that you're looking at to come out of this first game?
I'm going to see which team's going to get proactive first, because whoever comes in with more energy, as you already highlighted, momentum's so important, especially in a best of 5. Keep your eyes on it.
Sounds great, Mifflin, but more importantly, Dulcin, Gore, I know you guys are going to sound even better for game number 1.
It's one of the best times of year. Playoff Smite finally kicking off here in Season 8. And what a way to start things off. Solar Scarabs versus the Atlantis Leviathans. My name is Dulcin. Goremiser's with me. Doug working the camera. It's going to be pretty interesting here, Gore. The Ryzen has started to see this rise of play. And Leviathans specifically have enjoyed this pick in the past. I'll hold that thought, though, is inbound, dove on, and deleted by Yarkor. Your first blood of the Phase 1 playoffs goes to the Leviathans.
I mean, this lane is going to be good at finding lockdown like that. Unfortunately, it's a given. If SOT finishes that Rangdas eventually, that means him as well, maybe even more so because of the Rangdas passive. And so there's a lot of problems that this horse is going to introduce.
Panatom is rooted inbound down. A heal from Baronic over the wall, but look at this. Layers wants to chase in. Panatom has to use the beats. Oh, but Searing Pain connects. And Baronic now on the board for the first time for the Solar Scarab so far. Layers being chased down a little bit here by Yarkor. The up-down won't connect for the stun, but here comes Wrongu.
I mean, just shot after shot. One more is all it needs. He's looking elsewhere on the map. Now Zatman's in trouble.
There's a knock-up over onto Zatman, but the Solar Scarab's collapsing on in. Some decent damage in on the backside of this fight as well, but looks like the Solar Scarabs are going to be able to get out alive. Shinto had considered rotating over from mid, but 1-for-1 trade, Gore. Leviathans even things up there on the back end.
Well, Wrongu still being aggressive and actually forcing the ult out of Zap.
Oh, is he going to get detonated on the end of it? Of course he is, and Yarkor has found the damage. And now, for the second time this game, one of the duo lane members of the Solar Scarabs go down.
But more importantly, you want prots for everyone around you.
Inbound wants to fight, and it's Wrongu who's engaged on. Zatman weaving the damage in on the back end. Petrify flies just wide, and it's an up-down over onto the side. This has got to be a kill from the Solar Scarabs. Taking a little longer than they wanted, but Zatman able to pick up one nonetheless. Big collapse in from the Solar Scarabs. And they've pulled back one more for themselves.
And that brings just a proactive level of play that has to come up. But Baronic right now is going to be a single pillar along with SOT.
Might be seeing a run back of the previous call here. Solar Scarabs, they're on the Pyromancer, but Julio will have none of it. Wrongu moving in with his ultimate as the Pyromancer secured now by the Scarabs. But look at the back line. Julio makes quick work of Baronic over on the backside. Shinto with the Taiko drums will try to survive and not fall to a similar fate. Inbound pull back over the wall. It's massive disengage there from Panatom. Layers finally finishes off the kill, but it's a killing spree for the Chiron as inbound goes down.
Layers is still getting chased. Panatom goes there, but that's jungle for jungle. 3 for 2 so far. I mean, just back and forth between these two teams. And ultimately, like, movement speed is nice, and again, Zatman has good disengage. All pretty easy to just dive on.
Inbound blinks towards Shinto underneath his own tier 1 tower. Wrongu's there for the peel as inbound has lost half of his HP. SOT pulled back in by the gravity surge, and Winds of Shamash separates this fight on out. But Yarkor has found the first kill, and there's way too much range on the backline, and Shinto will find the second. Leviathan search for the fight, and they get 2.
I mean, that is a clean fight for them. Under the tier 1 as well. Panatom getting out of there
they want more.
is important, and Wrongu's going to bring them back in.
Into the skies and into the backline. Baronic has to try to disengage, but he's got no actives. And the last bit of damage from Panatom will meet its mark. And inbound will slither on away, and the Leviathans save that re-engage ultimate, Gore, for the perfect time.
Going to have a lot more chances than you had going into that. Especially with a 6,000 gold deficit. I think that they're still in this. They just have to figure out where they want to fight over the next few minutes.
Shinto eats a Searing Pain, uses the beads. Yarkor drops down the cleanse just to be doubly sure. Now in on the chase onto Layers. We're going to need to see more out of this Fenrir over the last few minutes of this game if the Solar Scarabs are going to have a chance. Still lowest on the damage charts, 1, 3, and 2. It's been quiet from Layers so far. SOT uses his ultimate again. The Taiko drums taunt the Gilgamesh back into the fight, and the health bar absolutely melting underneath the pressure of the Leviathans, and SOT will be roared to the grave as Layers attempting to disengage, but the drop ship is in, and Shinto will grab the Raiju Ragnarok used for disengage. But Leviathans found one, and that's maybe all they need.
And if they can just open up this door, at least at the seams right now. With one Phoenix finally respawning, though, they have a little more pressure over here on the right-hand side.
Fire Giant quietly reset. Fire minions pouring down the left-hand side. 2 waves are going to build up and push on into the Titan room. There's a fire wave on the right-hand side that's going to get looked at as well, and all the damage pouring into SOT, but Rongyu wants the backline, and Rongyu will have the backline. Baronic down as Panatom finds the opening kill. Zapman's going to get chased down as well. Game 1 is twilighting here, and the Leviathans will end up on top.
I mean, they're just looking for a couple more kills at this point. They've got 3. They only traded out Shinto for it. Layers is 1 good hit from dead, and there's the deicide.
And the deicide comes through 27 minutes in the Solar Scarabs. They put up a bit of a fight there around the FG, Gormizer, but this just felt like a very quiet, consistent, clean win from the Leviathans, where it wasn't the kills that pushed them over. I mean, of course the kills pushed them over the finish line, but it was more the macro play, the decision-making, the stripping of the farm, and the objective calls from the Leviathans here in game number 1 that ultimately make the difference.
And at the long term, I'm not too worried about it, just because I think this is the first
might be the best high damage ability that they
It's
have.
just the risk versus reward, right?
Yeah, risk-reward situation, like all decisions in life. You really can't say anything isn't risk-reward. That's a great Finchism right there. I used to say that all the time.
Well, we'll get to see what happens here in game number 2, Mifflin, because Solar Scarabs, Atlantis Leviathans still looking to make their mark. Dulce and Gore, you guys know what to do.
It is a best-of-5 set.
Dave, I don't
this
know
one
what to
almost
do.
feels like, wait.
I don't know what to do.
What do I do with my hands? I don't know. Can we talk? All right, so now you and I can actually talk. This is not going to hit the mark, I don't think, for anyone at home, which is probably why it's not worth saying.
You ask, it's arguable that a lot of people give credit to the Neil passive more than anything. You have to see if the Scarabs can inherit
They got
at least
a
a little bit of every piece of that team gets a little bit of it.
Whoa, Layers with an engage early on here, but as he overcommitted, Panatom blinks back in. First blood ticking away, and Layers goes down. Thought that he had found first blood, but instead he's in the dirt. Minute and 20 seconds in.
And they're still low to the point where Baronic feels confident, but this is one of those moments, I don't know how long you want to sit over there if you're Scylla. One good Thunder Crash, and at least forces your beads, but I think there's going to be a lot of follow-up damage.
The tick damage on the back end, you just need a little bit more, and Panatom just walks down the mid lane and picks up a quick 2 kills. That is a brutal You're able to find some follow-up damage on the back end. No surprise after little moments like that. Why this god has started to see more pick rate. Panatom now just walks on into Baronic, eats the entire crush, and is not worried about it. Up into the Pal-Out, it's the freest solo kill of Panatom's life. Baronic now 0-2, and Panatom avoids the drop kick with a blink.
The land just before Layers gets that off. I mean, you had to see the calculation there for Panatom to get out of there. I was kind of curious if he was going to be able to get out alive, but ultimately keeping himself going, and now Yarkor even taking on a 1v2. With Rongyu, they're coming over.
Oh, Rongyu wants to rotate on in. Here comes the Horus. Can Yarkor buy enough time? The answer is yes. Zetman has to use the beads, and the crystal will not be enough. And the Leviathans have filled up the gas tank with high-octane fuel here in game number 2. Leviathans jungler certainly showed up here today. It was a quiet start to game 1, but this dodge pick is really up the ante, you feel like now. 3 versus 2 over on the left-hand side, and if the Solar Scarabs finally struck pay dirt, they have, as Yarkor goes down first. Rongyu will limp away. Zapman has overstayed, and the Taiko drums will secure the return kill, and then the taunt back in on the Layers as Rongyu finds the stun, and the tick damage on the back end, looking for the second kill of this fight, and Shinto's got the double.
Now that looks like one of those, oh man, if only he was able to get out. Panatom was lurking in the jungle. He was ready to come up and try to catch. If it continues at this pace, that's when it gets really problematic.
Right.
That's when it becomes troublesome. And it's not happy, feel lucky right now.
Panatom up into the ultimate will keep him alive. As a lot of the CC flies on through, Layers gets pulled back in. It's a double pull from Panatom, the jungler running wild in game number 2. A crush on the back end maybe keeps Inbound alive, but who am I kidding? Panatom's there for the 4th kill of the game. No red buff is safe. No side of the map feels like it'll be safe here in game 2. We are 7 minutes in.
Yeah.
And Panatom is 4-0-2. Yeah, time will tell. Soul Eater had been a pretty popular item when Sun Wukong was one of the more popular picks there out of the solo lane. Inbound blinked on, though, and Taiko Drums will secure the kill there. Now Shinto has 4 kills on the board as well. It's a stun and an ultimate from Zapman on to Panatom, but Rongyu is here to peel out the rest of this fight. And I'm a Monster with an auto attack from Zapman is able to return a kill and get Panatom down for the first time this game, but it is immediately traded out as Rongyu will pick up his first.
If it continues going the way the first 10 minutes did, then I'm just going to start talking about how great the Leviathans are, because that's about all they're giving us.
SOT trying to make something happen in the mid lane, chases Shinto down with the Aegis. Perfect, but SOT from range finds the execute, but it's traded out as Panatom grabs the 5th of the game. Crush nearly grabs the kill here. Rongyu maybe in on the re-engage, but it's Rongyu on his own. Julio's going to rotate in over from right here as well, so there's a stun onto Baronic, and then the knockback is there, and it is perfect, and that damage, massive from the Leviathan solo laner. And the Scarabs are able to find one, but they lose two.
I'm going to be honest, that was a lot more than I expected. I thought, okay, maybe Baronic. No, he was decimated there. Good call from Julio to rotate in, and I guess good call to know how much damage he's going to do.
Man, Zapman with the ultimate over onto Rongyu, but you got a 5-1 and 4 Dashi chasing you down, and you're not going to survive that one, Zapman. Inbound is going to leap over the wall, so he'll survive. But now this is spread to as well. We've talked plenty about Panatom and Shinto, and for good reason, but Rongyu has put together an incredible game as well. Yeah. Now back-to-back games on this Horus have looked good, and now looking for the engage on a Zapman, who had to use the ultimate to disengage, has the beads in as well. Those will get used, but there's enough damage on the back end, of course, from the Leviathans to find the kill. Inbound will barely survive, but survive he does, so no more kills given over to the Leviathans, but Zapman has been chosen this game, as well as Layers and Baronic and Inbound. Now it's 2 and 5 on this Heimdall, and the left side of the map is effectively a wasteland now for the Solar Scarabs.
And you know, there's been, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. I think there's been a lot of arguments, a lot of conversations, Scarabs versus Kings, things going into the future and stuff like that for this what's been going wrong for them. I mean, again, look at their last year. Y'all, they do great in the typical regular season game, and then they don't even matter when it came to playoffs. This is a team that needs this.
I mean, I don't know if you laugh, you cry, something. Zapman immediately, yeah, probably both. Depends on what side you're on. If you're the Leviathans, you're chuckling. If you're the Scarabs, you're crying. Zapman died, walked back to lane, and then died again. Used the Aegis. And you've done a great job of it, talking about different avenues that the Scarabs can get back into this game. One, stop dying to Panatom, but that's harder, or that's easier said than done, because effectively you can't be on the map if you're going to make good on that, and you can't walk around while Rognew's looking for the engage like he is, and Julio controlling the space that Inbound is able to play. Ragnarok used for the CC immunity, but the damage from Shinto is good on the backside, and now Inbound 0-3. Maybe SOT goes Soul Eater into Transcendent score. It's going to take a little while for that item to get stacked up. Maybe this is just a full-on bet. We're betting the house now.
9,000 gold is definitely not an easy hill to climb. I mean, this is just going to be very difficult for you. In fact, it's way harder than I'm even giving it credit for. Even fighting at a fire giant is going to be damn near impossible.
Julio's about to get a taste of a 3v1 over here on the right-hand side. Crush goes down. Beads get used as Julio dodging out what feels like everything, and he is going to get out, and he's going to survive as the Solar Scarabs go fishing. And they come up empty-handed. Araiju over onto SOT, and the Taiko drums are there as well. You're kidding me. Baronic dies on the end of it. Solo or Troll will die as well. You're betting the house once again. Unfortunately, you come up empty-handed if you're the Solar Scarabs. Julio makes a big play, and the Leviathans as the team collapse and start up the FG.
I mean, this should be a great start for them to try and finish the game. They already have minions over there pushing on the right tier 2. Left tier 2's gone. Mid tier 2. It's not going to be feeling the same pressure as the other two, but as long as Daji, specifically where Panatom is, you can kind of see the path they're looking to take just in where the aggression is. Phoenix is there's maybe some more question marks around it, which is just the fact that, man, why are you not backing? Why are you not defending this? And it's just because they have a worse chance of survival of winning this game if they're actually there to save the Phoenix than they do if they just hang out around all the other towers.
Well, if you come for the king, you best come correct, and Panatom is the king here in game number 2, and a Ragnarok from Inbound only buys death on the back end. That's a long death timer, 35 seconds. Mid-Phoenix is down. And so the Leviathans, you don't want to say playing with their food, but at this point they can effectively push in any side of the map and get the objective pretty cleanly. I think left side is probably the next best option. Yeah, oh no, Zennies! I wonder where the crystal was going to go. It's right into harm's way. Some good peel from SOT will keep Zapman in the fight just a little bit longer, but the Leviathans maybe feel like if they can get this kill after the cooldowns are there, a rampage from Panatom, 9-1 and 6, might be able to end the game. That's a 50-second death timer on Zapman.
I mean, they still have over a minute on this Fire Giant, and look at how well Julio's zoning here. It just feels like it's going in their favor. And I've been looking at Rongyu. I mean, the healing that Horus brings is nothing to scoff at. Definitely something that he's been able to highlight here. There's not a lot of anti-heal, if any anti-heal on the other side. None that I caught prior. So they're definitely getting the full brunt of the heal.
Man, game 2 has just been absolutely brutal for the Solar Scarabs. The Atlantis Leviathans from minute 1 came to play, and it's Panatom and Shinto spearheading things. Wrong reeling in the fish time and time again. The Atlantis Leviathans in 21 minutes, maybe 22, by the time these last few kills come through. Or they're going to take game number 2 in a commanding lead here in this best-of-5 set.
Yeah, I mean, let alone just going up 2-0. Let's say they're 2 incredibly close games that go up 2-0, but the first game...
That's got to be mental...
Yeah, like the game 1, you
I don't think any team in the league really wants to play against that dominance that we've seen so far. The Leviathans have been looking very good. They've come out to play this week, and they've proven it so far in this set. If they take a 3-0 here, I think that they could be even one of the favorites to just win out the playoffs.
Well, what about that jungle matchup specifically? Because I think it is a little bit more obvious now that we're seeing the Gilgamesh right into the Ratatoskr. Who do you think is the better edge here?
Ratatoskr is going to have definite edge when it comes to early ganks. Just that global presence is going to be so good. It's up to him to set the pace, and Gilgamesh just has to try and match up.
Well, it's up to the Leviathans to see if they can close it out and see if they'll be facing the Olympus Bolts next up here. Dolson, Gore, you guys might not know what to do last time, but how about for game 3?
We definitely know what to do now. We've somewhat figured it out, at least in the sense that we know to speak into our microphones and say words. But
this is called a microphone? We're going to be looking for
actually,
some of that game pressure. But I think Layers is going to be able to be a little more hands-on this time around. Same thing for Inbound. Early on in this lane, Cerberus and Chiron have some fight, but there seems to be more in mid.
Oh no, this is what happened in game number 2, but this time the Solar Scarabs have found first blood, and Layers and Baronic just walk on in and grab a kill on a Panatom, and that is a perfect start here, because look at what happened in game 2, Gore. The Leviathans were able to get some of the jungle on the Leviathan side of the map.
I like that even more. One good knock-up, one stun. I mean, yeah, this is what you do when you have a Hercules with a red.
They did it! They did it! Inbound and Layers combined for the body block onto Wrongyu, and now Yarkor left alone. He'll be able to dash away, and good thing for it.
That is what that buff was for, by the way. Like that is that single line of text. It's not the early game you're worried about against this team. You're worried about the transition into that mid to late. So they have to keep this pressure going for a long time.
Inbound grabs the knockback. Andy's got the push on the Wrongyu as well. And that is one dead Cerberus as Baronic notches his first of the game. 101. Now 1 level lead over Shinto as well. Luckily for the Leviathans, Panatom was doing the red buff that entire time, so no invade this time from the Solar Scarabs. But this is that proactivity that I talked about with this Hercules. When Inbound is on this pick, and Layers is able to combine with it. 21-25 on the damage charts, second to highest is Inbound, immediately followed by Layers. SOT here, he's on top of the damage charts, and that's why the Leviathan's putting some pressure onto the right-hand side. The Salmon Leap is there, and SOT will dodge out the engage, but unfortunately there's just too much re-engage, and Panatom able to waltz on in, grab the wall kick, and get the Leviathans on the board.
Well, it kind of plays on your mind, I would say, can be a little bit, not necessarily a tilter, but something that's going to at least sit there with you.
Is actually
They're going in.
I'm not going to get a chance to talk about it as Layers through the Cosmos drops on down. Oh no, but Baronic didn't have the last tick of damage onto Shinto, and that means Panatom closes the gap, gets a kill onto Layers, and that makes things a little bit more interesting out of the jungle here, where it was a fantastic start. Still a great start for Layers out of the jungle. But now Panatom has been able to pull back a couple of kills here in this game, even in levels. Baronic being dove in the mid lane as well, and finally Wrongyu able to find some blood here in game 3.
This is what I was a little worried about. Look, that's just a small group.
The Leviathans were able to close this game out here. Panatom might just be player of the set.
Especially with the way he's been playing, although Julio's going to try to give him a run for his money here on this tier.
And Baronic has to thunder crash away, and Layers up to the sky, but he won't make it as Wrongyu grabs the first kill of the game for himself. An assist in the back pocket there as well. Now fighting continues to happen, and of course Panatom's at the forefront. The fears flying through from Baronic, the driving strike from Inbound to try to peel out for his mid laner, and the pullback is good. And what a
problem is, right now I'm starting to get a little bit more of game 1 vibes. Like, first few minutes, definitely favorable of the Scarabs, but now it's shaky.
This Gold Fury is going to be very important. Double knockup from SOT on the backline as the Cullen continues to wreak havoc. Excavate doesn't find a kill, but Zapman makes his way into the fray. Will use the beads to stay alive, but the snipes through the wall. They're good from Yarkor here, and here's that secondary engage from Layers, and that opens up the door to Baronic in the Tycho drums.
And they're going to be able to escape right now, but Julio's come over, and he's looking for blood.
Oh, there's so much going on as Yarkor grabs the double kill. Julio up and over the wall, sets that one up. Inbound desperately trying to put on the juke shoes, but he'll get the double push away, and Julio will grab the kill. Talk about the second wind in that fight, Gore. Scarabs had a little bit thanks to layers, but then Julio showing up made a big difference.
Yeah, that bounce back will be able to create space, will be able to create fights. And I think it's starting to become more important than ever for this Cullen to show up, as well as this Hercules to continue doing what he's been doing the whole time.
Inbound still feeling like he's doing his job. Gets the beats
Zap.
off of Yarkor, who goes into the ultimate here. Zapman will grab the kill there, but it's big CC onto Zapman on the back end, but there's just not enough damage from Wrong. You watch out, though. Shinto rotating over from mid lane. This is a Merlin's dream. The health bar so low, and Inbound will be the first to go down as Shinto rotates over, nearly finds the double kill, but it looks like Zapman is going to delay his life just a bit longer, and Panatom drives the final hit.
Yeah, Aegis used there for Zap. Again, delays the inevitable for him. And now it's just going to be back in control. Good Thunder Crash from Baronic. Julio's not done, though.
Divine!
That's the problem. I mean, right now it has been this tier and his ability to chase people down that's causing so much trouble as well.
There's a 3v1 yet again. Did not go Solar Scarab's way in game number 2, and might have liked their chances really the first kind of gap widening that we've seen since this game became even, where Leviathans rotate in, they grab themselves a 3-for-1. Could be a good opportunity here for the Scarabs. Julio has continued to try to run away, but SOT will snag one, and down goes the tier now for the first time this game.
It's a good
the ability now.
For a lot of that. And Raijin, I mean, Shinto's had 2 great Raijin games in a row, showcasing exactly what Baronic's going to be capable of in a lot of these team fights. But will it happen, I think, is the bigger question.
It's a good pull from Inbound onto Panatom, but Julio has joined the fight from the right-hand side. Push back from Inbound, but Inbound is going to have all the CC chained onto himself. 3-man knockup in the backline from SOT. Now Layers looking for the re-engage, and it's Panatom who's dunked down on, but the beads will keep him out of the air, and Panatom walks away. Now it's Wrong You throwing the ultimate down. In a ring as the Scarabs scurry on into the win. The health bar is just way too full now for the Leviathans as the chase rages on.
I mean, still going the Fearless combo, not enough to get the kill onto Layers, but SOT still falls.
Man, look at Julio just driving the Solar Scarabs on back. SOT was left alone with the Leviathans, and Julio chose to be alone with the Solar Scarabs, and the Solar Scarabs had no foot in that fight. The Primal Fury will go down, as well as the Scarab solo.
They fight around the Fire Giant.
Well, here's the burn for the Leviathans. FG is evaporating before my eyes as the Scarabs
Layers just got his ult.
Around the back end. Zapman knocked up, CC'd as the Leviathans have reset the FG, and Panatom finds the opening kill. Baronic with the Taiko drums will be able to buy some space for the Solar Scarabs, but Julio immediately fills that space as the tier is going to run down the mid lane of the Solar Scarabs. Layers over here on the right-hand side burned away by Yarkor, unless SOT has something to say about it, and he does not. Now suddenly SOT should be a bit nervous. The Leviathans find a couple of picks. Could get worse here if the SOT falls under his tier 1.
Looks like he's going to have a little bit of control on it. Not a lot, though. It's only going to prolong a little bit. Look, I like the way that the Scarabs were playing early on, and wow, even a huge push right now from Inbound just to make things look good for them. Unfortunately, that's going to be the deicide at some point. The biggest issue is that the communication, and that's actually where I think the entire fight breaks down for the Scarabs. And that is, I saw the minute Layers' ult comes up. That Fire Giant's at about 1/3 HP. That's a good call. Go up into your ult. But they dropped it before he started channeling it, and that's where the issue really came through.
Well, this Phoenix is going to go quickly. You hope that this is not the last stretch of gameplay for the Solar Scarabs here in the Phase 1 playoffs, but the Leviathans have something else in mind. Zapman, before my eyes, has gone missing. It's a knockup on the backline as Yarkor's been taken low, and SOT combines with Layers for an opening kill, but Shinto never died. SOT is transformed. Inbound misses the push. His flicker there as Inbound misses everything. Shinto dodges it all. SOT, he'll die off. Baronic is going to get chased down, and Gore, it feels like the Leviathans on the verge of ending this set.
Yeah, if they can get rid of Baronic, they can get rid of a lot of the lasting pressure that's going to cause them trouble. Inbound was too busy trying to bait him away. Going to have to back this time around, but they're going to lose that Phoenix no problem. It's all about a Titan defense.
Yeah, and it's Inbound and Baronic who got to put it up. 20 seconds left on the closest respawn, but the Leviathans will hear none of it. Yarkor isn't there, so the physical outpouring of damage maybe not as high for the Leviathans, but a 4 versus 2, a 4 versus 1 still feels pretty damn good as Baronic has to use the Aegis. He'll be pushed against the wall. Panatom rampages through this set. in one of the cleanest sets we've seen so far, Leviathans advance to the next round.
I mean, like you said, clean is the operative word. Game 3, there's a little bit of murky water at the very beginning for the Leviathans, but you can definitely feel the control throughout, well, most of, if not all of, that entire set. Game 1, a little back and forth. Game 2, overwhelmingly in their favor. Game 3, a little bit of back and forth, but they come out on top, and they get to move themselves forward. Look, the Leviathans, a team that has struggled every single playoffs, getting a win, getting a 3-0 win at that. This is a great way to start off their weekend.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect because the Leviathans have been